Hi everyone, welcome to Spiritual World, in which we're here to talk about all things related to spirituality. Today we're here to talk about the book You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hays. It's very important for people to understand that this book also helped me tremendously. It's such a beautiful book because sometimes I go through a lot of emotions too, and at those profound moments this book changed me, changed my mindset and how I see myself and how I could view myself and who I could become a better person. This book was referred to me a couple of years ago, and someone said it really impacted her life, and suddenly she no longer needed to say the word should. I should do this, I should do that. So the notion of being in the state of I should sometimes give us quite a bit of pressure. I should be a better daughter. I should be leaner. I should be better at my job. I should. And it creates a lot of pressure. When you can relieve it out, you can use the word, I could do this better. I could do better in my job. I could be leaner. I could be a better daughter. I could. And like that you remove all the burden and this responsibility that's weighing you down so much, and then you'll say, I am free. And you say, I could do this, but you ease and relax into it. Now, also I want to talk to you about negativity. Sometimes in our lives, we're constantly dwelled in the notion of negativity. A lot of people had a traumatic childhood. A lot of people had childhood that got mocked, that got bullied, that got shamed, that got felt guilty. And a lot of times it made them not able to love themselves properly. So whenever that kind of situation, I want you to place yourself in a state to actually appreciate yourself and love yourself. Very often we've been placed into a situation that when you were a child, your family member will say, it's all your fault. Or you could have a teacher, or you could have friends that say, it's all your fault. And it hurt you and affected you so much. So your whole life growing up, you'll feel sorry for yourself. And that will really deeply impact you on the viewpoint, how you see yourself. Times when you will actually feel you don't count. Because you feel you don't count, you will constantly reproduce the state of situation that you don't count in real life. For example, if you were young and someone forgot to give you something and it deeply triggered you, and then you got raised with the belief, well, I don't count because of that time this person forgot about me, and then you perpetrate that in your future. And then you will recreate all kind of situation in your life to say people will make sure you don't count, because that just validates the mindset that you have. So sometimes when you have the mindset of constantly feeling guilty about something because your family member made you feel guilty, and then you will keep on saying sorry wherever you go. So it's really important, the notion to fully let go and release that mindset and transform it. So please let go and forgive yourself. So I want you to fully let go. Please fully let go of how you feel and the perception you have of yourself. Now, some people really are drawn into complaining. There's moments that we all complain. There's moments that I complain, you complain. But the more complain you do, the more you draw it in. So sometimes when I'm in a really bad situation, I do complain too. But most of the time, I try to draw it in and meditate and let it out and release it. You can even release it on the paper, or you could do as Louise Hay says, you could take a pillow. You can punch the pillow and release that anger out. It's not good to hold it in. Otherwise, if you're constantly saying like, oh, I don't like this job, I don't like this city, I don't like this relationship, I don't like this, I don't like that. Wow, the universe will hear more and will draw more in. It will just constantly come into you. It come into you because this is what they hear. So it keeps on coming back and coming back. So instead of saying that, you can actually say, I'm moving to a new city. I am slender, going to a new relationship. I'll be so happy. At the moment that you transform the trail of thought inside of what you say inside of your mind, your life will suddenly pick up and transform. And by constantly reaffirming with a new transformed sentence, you will see your life transform in a different way. Now, the exercise I would like for you to try is this one. I love myself, therefore. So you could say, I love myself, therefore I eat healthy vegetable, I eat fruits, I do not eat processed food. And from that end, when you say things like that, your mind is transforming itself to say, hey, actually because I love myself, there's things I avoid. You can say, I love myself, therefore I am in a great career and I am always doing things I like and I always get along with my colleagues. I also have great communication with them and I always enjoy going to work. Retransforming it using this exercise will reframe your mindset, and at that moment you will actually say, wow, my life is transforming. It takes a little bit of time, but it really transforms you. Now, the third point I wanted to mention that was particularly pivotal for me was the following. Sometimes in our life, we have people that come in and then they say really mean things to you, and it's really not intentional. It's because they're releasing their anger. And at that moment, for example, they tell you and they say mean things and it hurts you, right? You're so deeply burdened and hurt by it. I want you to remind yourself to go do this exercise and put a mirror in front of you and say, I love you. When you say that, a lot of emotion might come up. You might look at the mirror, you might look at your imperfection, you might pinpoint at all kinds of situations that you don't like about yourself. And I want you to constantly say, I love you. Keep on saying over 100 times how much you love yourself. And by the end of the exercise, you'll feel better and better. The other one is always say that I approve of myself. I cannot stress how important it was for me to learn how to approve of myself. So when you come in, you say, I approve of myself. I approve of myself. So it's really important to do these kind of affirmation. I know in the beginning you'll say it's an affirmation, but you will see the transformation in due times. In addition to that, I wanted to stress the fourth point, which I find is totally fascinating. The fourth point is the following. So we all understand that a lot of us sometimes have some illness. We suffer in some specific level. And it's very important for us to understand sometimes our body part illness, it's because of emotion that's been suppressed for so long. When it has been suppressed on such a deeper level, it really affects your different parts of organs. So it's really important for us to be able to cope and manage different kind of emotion. We come here in a school. It's not easy. It's never easy for anyone. But how we learn to cope will give us a better choice of life. Now, for example, if you have eye problem, a lot of time people that have eye problem, it's because of things they don't want to see. So what happens is your eyes will actually try not to see it, so diseases could produce itself. So for example, there's things that you don't want to see in your present, in your future, in your past, and sometimes you could create diseases. Sometimes you have issues with your ears. You might sometimes notice the people that have a partner. So the people that have a partner that actually talks a lot, the ones that talk a lot and then they keep on talking, and you'll notice the other partner might develop some deafness to their ear, is actually related to that, because it's something that you don't want to hear. But it's not for everyone, right? There's couples, they get along very well and then they talk all the time. It's very, very enjoyable. But there's also, for example, for your skin. When people have skin problem, it's because usually they don't approve of themselves and they lack their sense of individuality. So whenever that happens, keep on mentioning to yourself, I approve of myself, I approve of myself, I approve of myself, I approve of myself. When you have issues related to your hair, you have to understand, a lot of times the stress is so strong. So because the stress in itself is so strong, it really affects your scalp. So because of that, you're so tense, the scalp is actually contracting, and your hair is lacking the air to breathe. So it's really important for you to tell yourself, I relax my scalp, I relax my scalp, I relax my scalp. Now there's also the part with the column. The column at the bottom, for example, it's usually meant for releasing things, but when you have issues with the column, very often it's because you suppress it. So you're holding back things, and that's why you have issues with your column. Now, the last one I wanted to say is about your throat. Your throat is a very important aspect, a very important organ, because when you are speaking, a lot of time people are being suppressed. They're holding in onto the anger. They're holding onto a lot of emotion that they have. Because they're holding it in, so it cultivates a lot of anger inside, and they could have tonsillitis or laryngitis. It really deeply affects them inside. So it's really important for you to learn how to communicate and how to be better when you establish your communication. Remember, your voice is important. So it's very important how you transform that thought so you become much better. So this is all I wanted to share with you today. I hope you have a lovely day.